Deep in the Amazon jungle, a team of archaeologists carefully moved through the thick undergrowth. The jungle was alive with strange sounds, the buzzing of insects, rustling leaves, and the distant calls of unknown animals. But to the team, something felt off. The air was heavy and tense, as if the jungle was hiding secrets it didn't want them to find. The team was led by Dr. Carver, a seasoned archaeologist who had seen many ruins and artifacts in his career. They were using a special radar that could scan the ground for hidden structures. They were hoping to find an ancient temple or a lost city buried beneath the thick jungle floor. Suddenly, the radar beeped loudly. The screen showed a huge shape hidden below, and the team's excitement grew. They marked the location and pushed on, following the radar signals. The deeper they went, the denser the jungle became, and an eerie silence fell around them. The usual sounds of birds and insects faded away. "Is it just me, or does it feel like the jungle is watching us?" whispered one of the archaeologists, nervously looking around. After some time, they reached the spot indicated by the radar. But instead of finding a ruin, they stumbled upon something unexpected. A massive cargo plane, its body hidden among the trees and tangled in thick vines. The plane looked out of place, almost like it had been dropped there. "Is that a plane?" asked one of the team members, squinting at the strange sight. "It doesn't look damaged at all," another added. "How could it be in such good condition?" The plane was covered in vines and moss, yet its metal surface still gleamed faintly in the sunlight. There were no markings to show where it came from or who it belonged to. Dr. Carver approached the cargo door cautiously. He reached out and pushed it, and the door opened with a loud creak. A musty, stale smell escaped, making everyone take a step back. "Should we go in?" asked one of the archaeologists. "We have to," Dr. Carver replied, trying to hide his uneasiness. He took a deep breath and stepped inside, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. Inside, the plane was filled with old crates and machinery, all covered in dust. There were no signs of people, no remains or personal belongings. It was as if the crew had vanished without a trace. The silence inside the plane was heavy, and every small sound echoed loudly. "What happened here?" someone muttered, their voice barely more than a whisper. While exploring the lower deck, one of the team members noticed a small locked door. The door was old and rusty, and a thick chain was wrapped around it tightly, almost as if someone had tried to keep it shut. But curiosity drove them forward. They cut through the chain and pulled the door open. Behind it, they found a huge metal ladder, leading down into a dark, seemingly endless hole. The ladder was ancient-looking, and the air coming from below was cold and damp. "Who builds a ladder in a plane?" one of them wondered, peering into the darkness. Dr. Carver's curiosity was piqued, and after a moment's hesitation, he decided they needed to find out what was down there. The team began to climb down, the metal ladder creaking under their weight. The descent felt like it took forever, with the darkness surrounding them. Flashlights barely lit the way, and strange echoes made the hairs on their arms stand up. After what felt like ages, they finally reached the bottom. They found themselves in a huge underground cave, dimly lit by their flashlights. The walls of the cave were covered in strange symbols, glowing faintly in the dark. They weren't like any writing or drawings the team had seen before. "What are these?" asked one archaeologist, running their fingers over the carvings. The symbols seemed to pulse, like they were alive. Dr. Carver studied them closely, but he couldn't figure out their meaning. He felt a chill run down his spine, as if the walls were watching them. In the center of the cave stood a massive stone doorway, much taller than any of them. "It's incredible," Dr. Carver whispered. "How could something like this be hidden down here?" They approached the doorway cautiously, and the team decided to open it. It took hours of effort, and it felt like the door was fighting against them. Strange vibrations ran through the ground, and a low hum filled the air, making the team uneasy. Finally, with a loud crack, the door slowly creaked open. A bright blue light spilled out, and the team gasped. Beyond the doorway was another larger door, but this one wasn't made of stone. It was shimmering and glowing, almost like it was made of water or light. "It's a portal," someone whispered, their voice shaking with fear and wonder. The portal seemed to ripple like water, inviting them to step through. But something about it felt wrong. The team was scared and confused. One of the younger archaeologists, Martinez, felt a strange urge to explore. Against the warnings of his teammates, he slowly reached out and touched the portal's surface. It rippled under his fingers, and before anyone could stop him, Martinez disappeared into the light. "Martinez!" Dr. Carver shouted, but there was no answer. The rest of the team stared at the portal, unsure of what to do. Minutes passed, and just when they thought all hope was lost, Martinez's voice crackled through their radios. "You won't believe this. It's like another world," he said, his voice filled with awe. "The sky, the stars, they're all different here." But then his voice changed, becoming more panicked. "Wait, there's something out here." The radio cut to static. Dr. Carver called out to Martinez, but there was no response. The silence was heavy and filled with dread. Suddenly, a cold wind blew out of the portal, and a soft whisper seemed to come from the darkness beyond. The shadows in the cave shifted, almost as if something was moving on the other side. The team felt like they were being watched by something they couldn't see. "We need to close it," Dr. Carver said urgently. But before they could move, a dark figure began to appear in the doorway. It wasn't Martinez, it was something else. Something tall and covered in dark, vine-like growths that twisted and moved on its own. The creature had glowing blue eyes that stared at them through the portal. The team felt frozen in place, paralyzed with fear. They realized they had opened a door to somewhere they shouldn't have. The portal started to shimmer violently, and the creature reached out towards them with a long, vine-covered arm. The cave walls began to shake, dust and debris falling from above. It felt like the entire cave was about to collapse. "Close it now!" Dr. Carver yelled, and the team rushed to push the door shut. It took all their strength, and just as the creature was about to step through, the door slammed shut with a loud boom. Everything went quiet. The team stood there, breathing heavily, still shaking from what had just happened. Even though the door was closed, they couldn't shake the feeling that something was still watching them. They hurried back up the ladder, each step echoing in the silence. As they reached the top and stepped out of the plane, they felt a little safer, but they didn't know that the seal on the door was already weakening, and whatever was behind it wasn't done with them yet. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this adventurous dramatic tales? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest update. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.